Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we give you 3 or 4 interesting, sadly this week, very infuriating stories and get you on your way in about 20 minutes or so. If you have a story you'd like us to cover, make it a fun one, please. Creation Station at broward.org comes right to us and we'll try to get it on the air. I have Miss Autumn from North Lauderdale Library Creation Station Science.
Surprise, I'm back.
It's awesome. We are very, very happy to have you back. We're coming in on the end of Women's History Month. We're coming at the beginning of Creation Station Month.
Citizen Science Month.
Citizen Science Month. We have all sorts of stuff that you are right in the middle of doing. So tell people.
I'm always in the middle of stuff.
It's a great fun thing. Tell people what you do out there.
So in fancy library terms, I am the community library manager for the North Lauderdale Narrow Branch Library. What that means in regular layman's terms is I'm the branch manager. We always have to make it more complicated than what it is. I'm the branch manager. That's what it is. So this location, as Bob mentioned earlier, we have a creation station here, but our creation station is specifically for science. So we have what is essentially a science classroom where you can get messy, cool things can happen, and we are really excited about what we have coming in the future, which we'll talk about a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, we'll highlight an event at the end for you on that. Yeah. But it's a very cool room if you have not been out there. Mm-hmm. Tile. So if you're going to do science experiments, you don't have to get your carpet dirty. It's great. But getting things dirty and making a mess of things. By the way, microplastics are everywhere. So the headline is a little misleading. It is not that they're finding microplastics from Roman times, because the Romans did not have plastics.
Sure.
But what happens, don't start conspiracy theories, but what has happened is the microplastics in the water, in the air, and at the sites that up till this time, everyone believed that the best way to preserve ancient sites was to leave them in place and not mess with them. Let them be there and let it stay so that people will be able to excavate them later on or visit and do the things. Now they're finding that microplastics are invading those spaces and ruining them now.
So, I didn't read this article.
It's okay. It's too depressing. It's too depressing.
I mean, it's like, okay, like microplastics are everywhere. If you're surprised by this, you haven't been paying attention.
This is also true.
Because, I mean, this is sad. What's more sad is the fact that babies are coming out of the womb with microplastics.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, yes, is it really...
I know.
Really
it's
that devastating for old crap. I say crap. That's not really.
No, I mean, right. Yeah. This is a chance to.
This is actively killing things in our oceans.
Yes.
And these are sites and things that have been dead and gone for, in some cases, thousands of years.
Tens of thousands of years. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the one like the bog people mentioned, the bog mummies that, people fall in the bogs and peat and stuff. And now, I agree. It's like, here we go. We've known this was happening.
Like,
yeah.
This stuff is here. This is what it's doing, but also, be more concerned about things that are alive with microplastics.
Yeah. This just adds to the pile of evidence. Like, we need to stop this.
People will ignore it. And whatever.
Well, we hope people won't ignore. We're bringing attention.
How are we doing on that so far?
Yeah. Well, how are we doing with this? This is an infuriating one for me.
I've got opinions on this one. I did read this.
Good. So I want to hear the headline here in case people are watching the video. It's the article is saying how phones have warped Gen Z and causing them to drop out of life. And I'm just like, hypocrisy much?
Yeah, that's
Tell me, go for it, Autumn.
Like I have notes. So this individual that is at the beginning of the article is discussing that Gen Z has the worst mental health, which very well could be true. However, let's look at the fact of we haven't acknowledged mental health. This is one of the first, I would say, younger millennials and Gen Z are some of the first generations in modern remembrance that are acknowledging, hey, I'm not feeling so great. I'm not doing good. It's okay to not be okay. So shut up. I'm sure there have been tons of people with mental health that never admitted it, or
exactly,
it's your dirty family secret. That's just what it is. So we're starting to admit to mental health, just in general, admit to mental health, but also to admit to the issues, to the problems that you might be having. And it's like, oh, it's not depression, it's mostly anxiety. I wonder why.
Yeah, look at the world around us.
They're so anxious.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention.
Could it be that the housing market, the job market, climate crisis, the world that they are inheriting is infinitely worse than anyone else.
Yeah.
Again, in modern remembrance, right? And then they've got adults, older people like this guy, people in government, their parents, their own family, who are telling them, oh, you're just being dramatic. It's not that bad. You'll just have to work a little harder, or completely ignoring it and telling them it doesn't exist. Yeah, no kidding. They're anxious.
Yeah,
kidding.
I know.
Like, what are you doing? And I really find it interesting that he's, again, opinions, so many opinions, that it's focusing in on things like Instagram and TikTok. Well, yes, some of those platforms have played a role, rightly identified, in the self-esteem and
well, like here's the
young women. I get that. That is a legitimate concern.
And I think that my real concern with that is why it's not so much that blame the platform. Don't blame TikTok. Don't blame Instagram for this. Why are we as a society allowing people to believe that that's what's important?
Right. That's not a like you said, a platform. That's not a social media issue.
Yeah.
That is a social issue.
Right.
That is us as a society issue, not just, oh, it's Instagram, oh, it's TikTok. No. But he's also picking on those two specific platforms and Gen Z while ignoring the elephant in the room of older generations, specifically boomers, falling for everything on Facebook. And spreading it. But no, they're fine. That's okay. No, it really isn't. The gullibility for disinformation, know, and meanwhile saying, oh, because of this and how bad it is for their mental health, that means the younger people will be open to authoritarianism that will help control the chaos, saying they'll make it go away. Really? Have you listened to the news? Have you watched TV?
Have you seen all the people protesting
going on in this world? And
look at the protests. It's the young people.
This speaks to the larger issue of blaming the platforms, as we see right now in Congress with the TikTok ban.
Yeah.
I have specific opinions on that too that I'm not going to go into right now because I'm going to just talk about that
because
for the rest of the time.
Right. We have time. We have to move on here in a second.
What that is
tell me.
Those platforms, and TikTok in particular, which we've seen over the past few years, is how citizen journalists are getting out information of horrible things happening in their countries.
Yeah.
That major news networks, maybe they can't get into those countries. And
Or
they
maybe
can't
they
be
don't
on the
want you to
street.
know about it.
Like the protests that were happening in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting lots of stuff out of Iran.
Yeah.
Using TikTok.
Yep.
We're the older generations are going to try and shut it down so that stuff goes away. The kids will find a way.
Yeah.
They will find a way. They will get the information, and they will still be out on the street protesting. So
we hope.
Okay.
As always,
I'm going to move my
everybody,
notes to the side.
the links for all of these articles are in the chat. So please go to the show notes and follow up on some of these and read these and make your own mind up for these things. Because just like that article was infuriating for Autumn, this one's pretty infuriating for me.
I mean,
claiming that you have memory loss because of using ChatGPT. And I'm like,
okay.
What?
So that's a bunch of bull crap for one. For one. I mean, I do understand they're talking about
I don't understand.
Shh. They're talking about under increasing workloads, students are starting to use and rely more on ChatGPT to help with their coursework, to get the answers, because we put so much pressure. And I know this wasn't necessarily looked at here in the United States, but it is still true here, that particularly high school students, middle school and high school students, there is so much pressure on them to perform, to do well. And why? That another set of opinions. But having it to where that's what's causing memory loss. How about it's that anxiety for a crap world? It's the stress you're putting them under. And you know what else? It's this. This is what does it. My memory went to crap as soon as I got a smartphone. You know why? Because I don't need to know everything.
There we go. Thank you very much. That's my point.
Because
That's
I've got it all right here in my hand. I have almost all of the knowledge of human civilization right here in the palm of my hand. It's got squat to do with ChatGPT.
Right. I've said that about spell check for decades and decades. I don't need to remember how to spell things because I've got spell check. I understand what I wanted to say. I know how to use a dictionary. So
I'm just laughing because I actually will look words up before I type them in because I don't want spell check to tell me I'm wrong.
I'm okay with being told I'm wrong and correcting myself afterwards. But it's like you don't need it's how many phone numbers do you actually remember anymore? Because
I remember my husband's phone number and my mom's phone number. I also remember my grandparents' phone number that they haven't had for like 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. I remember the phone number from 30 years ago. Yeah.
I remember the Pizza Hut delivery phone number for the Pizza Hut from when I was a kid.
Oh,
that's it.
That's craziness. Not the new one, but the old one.
No, I don't even know what the new one is, but I don't need to know because
you've got it in the phone. You've got it there in your address book. You don't need to remember it. I know.
If I can't use a phone,
I'm
not going to need to remember the number.
Yeah. There's no payphones out there anymore. I know.
Okay.
I know. So, but basically what my frustration with this was, you're talking about a platform that has been around for
a couple of years.
Not even. Yeah, like 18 months.
Publicly.
Has it been publicly out there and really available to people to use? And this is people are still exploring how to figure out what to do with this. Where are you going to go? How are you going to utilize in which part of what?
It on that's the problem, not the.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We have more important uses for that brain space.
Right. Well, not only that, but maybe if we have to look up so many things and do so many things, maybe that's a good reason to have an assistant to help you with those things. Because you've got lots to do.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, final article for the day. This one's not as infuriating, folks. Nah. We have good thoughts on this one in a way.
I just have thoughts, but nothing like.
Oh no, you have good thoughts. So when you go to Google and you do a search for pizza, what do you find? What's your first search? What's your first result?
Pizza. I don't know. It's probably going to tell you about the history and whatever,
No,
or maybe
no,
some
no.
local. I don't know because I don't look up pizza.
If you go to look up pizza on Google, the first thing's going to be a sponsored result. It's going to be those highlighted links that somebody paid to be at the top of the list. So it's
Actually,
not a
mine's just
real.
maps. It's a map.
Oh, you got a map to go to the closest pizza place because they paid to be there.
It's not even the closest.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
It's because I don't let it know where I'm at.
You know your
Like,
directions.
you don't
your
need to
location.
know where I'm
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
Google.
That's a very valid thing too. So with the rise of Copilot, ChatGPT, Anthropic's stuff, all those, Claude and all those other ones, there's a lot of reason why people have started to think, okay, well, that's just going to be my default search is go into a chatbot, type something in, and it's going to give me a response. And so how is Google going to make any money? Because remember, Google is an ad company that gives
First of
you
all,
email.
Google has an AI, so
Yeah, they're
be
using their
fine.
own. Yeah.
Don't worry about them.
Well, if the premise was true, you would worry about Google because instead of using AdWords, you can't fit an ad into the paragraph that comes back to you, kind of thing.
Or can you? They'll figure it out.
Well, sadly, yeah, that's going to be one of our problems.
So, I mean, it's just honestly, it's just knowing. First of all, the biggest thing is the general, and it's still fresh, so this is totally okay. It's a general misunderstanding of what AI is.
Yeah.
At least what it is right now. AI has to be trained. They have to load data. They have to point it in specific directions to look at stuff so it can answer questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're asking, like I saw the one that stuck out to me the most was sports scores.
Yeah.
Well, that's like what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to be able to get what's happening right now in a lot of these AI models because it doesn't know what's happening right now. It's either going to make it up or it's going to give you some historical data, which that's not what you're asking for. You want to know who's winning right now. So that's one of the
Marlins are 0-0 right now. It's opening day, folks.
You're like, oh, we're not going to cover that story. You see what I did there, though?
Yes.
I helped you work it in.
You did it. You were amazing. Thank you very much for that.
Anyway, but it's that fundamental misunderstanding of what AI is, in all honesty. The biggest, like, I don't use ChatGPT, honestly, because I know how to talk to Google.
Yeah.
Right? And it's okay, not everybody does, but that's kind of part of my job.
Yeah.
Is knowing how to ask questions to get the answers I want. But I also know that Google's not necessarily the best if, like what my husband uses it for the most is during D&D games, right? And he needs to be able to find a specific stat or a specific monster or a specific loot. And he can just type into ChatGPT and it will tell him chapter and verse, basically, because that's some of the data that
was trained on, because we've got lots of data for those things out there.
Exactly. And that's the people who were writing the code for it. Hey, I got this Dungeon Master book here. Have fun. So.
Which actually, those are called small language models because they train it on a specific set of data and it gets better quality results.
Like I've seen, and it's what's interesting also is people don't understand that you can make your own AI.
Yeah.
Now, it takes a lot of time. Depending on how complicated you want it to be.
We're not going to cover the Microsoft story about AI on your own computer today.
Right. No, I mean, like.
But that's something they just announced today.
Written his own.
Yeah.
To identify certain things, and you go to Google. To find your data sets.
Yep.
And you're like, here, buddy, have fun.
Here's these public data sets that you can use. that are legal and great. Yeah. No, it's wonderful.
I see you're like looking at the clock. You're like, oh my God, we're going to go over time.
Oh, no, I'm not worried about going overtime. You and I always go overtime. I am
No,
not worried about that at all.
mostly the variable in there is me. I always go overtime.
Oh, well, I was going to say the variable is when we get to the second inning. But it's opening day. I am dedicated and I'm doing the podcast instead of watching the game. But
you've probably got it on another monitor.
That's a different issue. Well, let's show you something else that's on my monitor, which is I want to make sure that everybody out there knows we have moved to a new YouTube channel. So we have our own specific playlist just inside of the Broward County Library YouTube channel. So if you subscribe to the old, come over and subscribe to the new. We can't move subscribers over. So please come over and join us. I know it stinks.
Like that thumbnail though, you're like, ha!
It was a very fun show. Oh, that was this.
Was that from this last?
That's Tuesday? The last Creation Station Monthly Women in Tech. Yeah, they're two amazing women there. Gabby, who works for the NBA doing their technology stuff. Yeah, fun stuff. But you've got very fun stuff too. I want to throw that up there for you because you have 2 events coming up on the 17th.
Yes, we do. So the biggest event is the Creation Station Science Open House, which is, as you see on the screen, Wednesday, April 17th from 2 to 3 p.m. So this is basically just a rechristening, if you will, of our Creation Station Science. It opened, a few years ago, pre-pandemic. This was like 2016, 2017?
2016.
Okay. So it was 2016 when we initially opened it. But as everyone remembers, or you may choose not to, we had a little bit of a shutdown there for a while where people just stopped going out in public. And, sometimes you have to remind people what's going on. And so this is kind of what that is. It's, hey, do you remember this? And if not, look what we have.
Come on in. Look what we have, because Autumn's location is featured as part of the monthly magazine this month.
Yay, because it's Creation Station month-ish.
Citizen Science Month. Citizen Science Month. April.
I have no idea what's going on.
April is Citizen Science Month, and it is 10 years of Creation Station. Yep. All sorts of stuff.
So we also have, that from 2 to 3, and then we have our STEM activities for the kids starting at 3 o'clock. We are near a school, so we have a lot of children who come in after school. We're multiple schools, not just one. But we'll also be hopefully showing off at least one of our sets of scientists in residence here at North Lauderdale, which we were so lucky to get the Broward Public Library Foundation. I can't say. I'm used to seeing it written, not saying it out loud. Were generous enough to give us a grant to help fund some amazing scientists who are going to be doing work here, hopefully starting very soon within the next few weeks and running through summer. So
at least through summer. Yep. It's going to be awesome.
At least through summer. And these are some wonderful people who are going to be coming in and working with the community, not just the kids, but we're going to have some stuff for adults too. So it's going to be great.
It is it's going to be a lot of fun for everybody to see. It's hard to pick just one thing out of that whole event thing that's going on. So
much.
We'll talk about the blood later on. It's going to be the blood. The blood.
No, we're not doing that on that day.
We're
not doing it on that day.
Man, we got to do some fun, cool stuff.
You can still do cool stuff.
We'll still do cool stuff. Just we'll get there. If there's something cool you want to see on the show, let us know. creationstation@broward.org, and we'll reach out to you. Go hit subscribe. Have a great week, everybody.